ferry riders who use the Algiers ferry say that the changes will be an inconvenience. Owners of a tubing center say the best way to keep safe is to wear a life jacket and to stay in your tube. Community leaders, family, and friends have all come out to pay their last respects to Pastor John Raphael. Eyewitnesses say the impact of the collision caused an explosion leading to a fire, leaving 16 injured. Because of several tips from Crime Stoppers, police believe that they found the suspect's car at a repair shop right down the street from the police station. Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office say they do have a person of interest in the case of the missing 6-year-old Harvey girl who went missing Friday night. Some locals have stopped to pay their respects to Officer Rodney Thomas at a memorial set up at the police station where he worked. Saints players, family, and friends, and even those who don't know Devin, have come out to support this good cause. More than 1 million people ride this ferry every year. It costs $3.1 million to operate it. The LASPCA tells us that this is the largest seizure ever, with more than 800 animals. And with so many roosters on the property, as well as steroids, antibiotics, and needles lying around, officials believe that cockfighting is involved.
It's kind of strange to 1 minute see somebody and you see something that seems out of the ordinary, and the next thing you know, you watch the news and that person is killed.
Michael Dummett, the owner of Big Shirley's restaurant, says he was riding home early Sunday morning along with his wife when he saw something unusual.
And we saw the accident on the interstate, and I saw that the back lights of the vehicles were out. So I'm saying to myself, somebody's going to run into these cars. Then we see the officer peep into one of the vehicles, and he started to go behind the cars and was trying to deflect traffic away from him. My wife and I said, man, that's dangerous. No flashlight, no flares.
NOPD officer Rodney Thomas was checking on the passengers in the car that he got into a minor accident with when he was struck and killed by a white Porsche Panorama. The vehicle fled the scene quickly without stopping. Thomas worked his entire 8-year career in the 2nd District Police Department. NOPD Chief Ronald Serpas says that he was a pillar in the department and that his memory will live on.
He was a positive, friendly officer. He was a cop's cop. He will be sorely missed. Officer Thomas was the kind of cop that would come to your house, act with dignity and respect, might even come back a couple days later just to check on you and see how you were doing.
Some locals have stopped to pay their respects to Officer Rodney Thomas at a memorial set up at the police station where he worked. Cecile Thibault, who worked for the department's mobile crisis unit, worked closely with Thomas. She and others believe that our loss is God's gain.
And my how wonderful to have that on our streets.
Serpas lost a good guy. He lost one of the good guys.
Investigators say they will find the suspect, but they encourage them to turn themselves in. On your side, I'm Toi Thornton, WDSU News. For 20-year-old Matthew Flugents, he is wanted for the sexual battery of an 11-year-old girl in April. Police would like to assure everyone that they're on top of the situation.
Every hour that goes by, this situation becomes even more concerning to us. We still can't seem to understand why we have yet to receive a tip.
Colonel John Fortunato of the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office says they're expanding their efforts to find the young girl. He says they're looking for any leads or tips.
You know, we want someone to tell us, we saw a car, we saw a person, this is the location.
Investigators say 6-year-old Alita North was last seen about 11 o'clock Friday night after returning home from the store with her mother and stepfather. It wasn't until around 8:30 Saturday morning that the family discovered that she was missing. Family members of the child say that they're devastated. The child's mother says she's trying to remain strong throughout this difficult situation.
I'm trying to keep it together, but every time I think about, you know, where she could be, when I think about the negative side, like somebody could be hurting her or something like that, it hurts. I'm a mother, I'm supposed to be able to protect her, but I'm not able to protect her because I don't know where she is. JPSO
says the person of interest may not be a suspect, but should be considered. They say they will not stop their endeavors to find the missing girl. If you have any tips as to the whereabouts of the person of interest, a suspect, or the missing child, you can call Crime Stoppers at 822-1111. On your side, I'm Toi Thornton, WDSU News.
So they're saying, ha ha ha, forget you.
Residents react to recent ferry changes.
It's kind of sad. I like having the ferry. I live in
Today, the Department of Transportation and Development announced new operating hours for the Algiers Canal Street Ferry. Last week, the department also announced that the ferry will only carry pedestrians, using the smaller ferry to reduce operational costs. Ferry riders who use the Algiers ferry say that the changes will be an inconvenience.
Crescent City connection can be backed up, and I think this is a very convenient way.
I think the hours are going to be more inconvenient. You'd have to take a cab home if you've been out. So
Other riders have one simple question.
Why? It was so nice to be able to come from Algiers and to see the nightscape of the city. That was beautiful. Are you telling me that people won't be able to see that anymore?
Way for them to go without driving, they can go.
Citizens believe that changes could affect the city in more ways than one.
I can't think of what this might do to the service industry.
Some have speculated that fares will eventually be added. The changes will take effect Monday. On your side, I'm Toi Thornton, WDSU News.
Big bomb, big blew up. Poof.
Eyewitness Lloyd Williams and two other cars were involved as well. Traffic was closed in both directions. Eyewitnesses say the impact of the collision caused an explosion leading to a fire, leaving 16 injured. The right place at the right time is where Shelby Rawls and her sister were shortly after the accident occurred. Shelby is a soldier and her sister is a Marine. She says they were driving past when they saw the wreckage and their military instincts kicked in.
And then we saw people on the ground, people hurt, people bleeding. We come running out from this road over here, grabbing as many people as we can, just taking them as far as we can. People that can walk, making sure nobody else was on the bus.
They did what their training taught them to do.
You just help people as much as you can, make sure that everybody can say their first, last name, that they can respond to you. And when the paramedics got here, just to point out the major people that needed help.
Hazmat responded to the accident and no citations have been issued at this time. On your side, I'm Toi Thornton, WDSU News.
So today's event is not completely unusual in that.
Anna Zarilla, the CEO of the Louisiana SPCA, says that what they found today was not shocking, but how much they found was.
In that we've done other cockfighting seizures, but we certainly have never done one on this scale.
Because of a tip from an anonymous neighbor, the SPCA was able to investigate, find, and seize hundreds of birds from a New Orleans East home. Investigators say that Trinh Tran was arrested and booked on felony cruelty charges, cockfighting, and misdemeanor possession of exotic animals. However, the SPCA believes the consequences should be greater.
So the penalties are pretty insignificant for a case of this size. There's a great deal of cruelty when you think about, roosters going at each other to the death with knives strapped onto their legs.
The LASPCA tells us that this is the largest seizure ever with more than 800 animals. And with so many roosters on the property, as well as steroids, antibiotics, and needles lying around, officials believe that cockfighting is involved.
The accused actually talked about cockfighting and about breeding birds for cockfighting. So there's no other reason to have this many roosters all on one location other than for cockfighting and for breeding for cockfighting.
So as for the hens?
So the hens and the female chicks will get rehomed. We have a number of farms that we work with regularly when we get hens and are able to place them. euthanized. Also in Orleans Parish, it's illegal to keep roosters, so we would not be able to adopt them to the public.
On your side in New Orleans East, Toi Thornton, WDSU News.